What is up, Dog Nation? Y'all are national champions. Our team, so proud of them for all the hard work they put in on the offseason. Our coaches, our athletes, our training staff, everybody did an unreal job. Administration, unreal job putting these guys in a position to where we got to an awesome game. You guys showed up in Indianapolis, and we were able to do what we needed to do on the field to take over and take that championship. And basically doing it against the best. You have to beat the best to be the best. Guys, we beat the best, and now we hold that title, and let's see what we can do to hold on to that over the next couple of years. But before we get into that, before we start moving on, let's talk about some things that we did really, really well throughout the game, both offensively and defensively. First thing I want to talk about, consistency. Our defense was consistent through the whole game. It wasn't a 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 3 quarter performance. It was a 4 quarter performance in which all of their guys did a great job. Okay. The first couple plays, Bama came out, and as you could tell, they were getting the ball out quick, whether it's outside zone run or getting that ball out to perimeter. Throughout the whole game, they continued to try to do this. What they were trying to do early is basically wear our big boys down. Okay. A lot of the things that we had in the first game versus the SEC, in the SEC game versus them, was breakdowns, mental breakdowns, because physically we were tired. They were trying to attack us in the same way. You could tell that we were a little bit more prepared. 1, we were in good condition. But 2, one thing that I love that we did on the first drive that I'm not even going to draw up on the board is the fact that when those plays happened, every time Bama subbed, it felt like it took Georgia 2 minutes to run their big men off the field and then replace them with other big men. So it was awesome to see the chess match going on between the coaches. Kirby and those guys did a great job of being like, hey, take your time coming off the field. Take your time getting on the field. Whatever it was, it slowed a fast-paced game down. Our defense is taught, hey, turn and chase every time a ball goes anywhere. That's going to wear us out if you're running side to side. But using that, basically that strategy of slowing those guys down coming off the field and going on the field did a great job of slowing the pace of the game down to where our guys were able to play fast. And once we got down into the red zone, got down into the -30, we did a great job of bowing our necks and doing what we needed to do in order to keep them out of the end zone. Now, let's talk about some things that Bama, in the first game, we talked about it. They got into these bunch sets. They used these bunch sets in a lot of different ways to attack us and to hurt us and basically confuse us with the bunch set. But I loved what we did this game and a lot of different things. 1, our pass rush was a little bit more straight up the field. We got after them. There wasn't a whole bunch of twists and all this kind of stuff, taking our time getting to Bryce. It was, hey, let's put our hand in the dirt and go get them. If we're bringing somebody, we're bringing them off the edge. And we're doing that. But bringing them off the edge, let's talk about that a little bit, kind of the different ways that we not only brought that rush and we got pressure in Bryce's face, but ways that we did it and then disguised what we did behind it. So Alabama got into this set a couple different times in the game. All right. Basically, it's a tight end on the line. They're getting into a bunch set to the field. All right. They got into a bunch set throughout the game multiple ways, different times, and they used it in a lot of different aspects. But we did a great job of covering and performing in a way that allowed us to keep the coverage. Now, the first way I'm going to talk about is the most basic way that we attacked them. All right. It was something that we were able to do successfully. It's what we normally do. Okay. So if we normally bring, all right, these guys, we're blitzing. All right. Bring this guy, our Sam walks off the edge and he's coming. All right. We are man to man everywhere else. All right. Man to man, man to man, man to man. This guy is the one high safety in the middle of the field. All right. Things that Bama likes to do. They like to bring, if we're getting into this bunch, they like to take these guys. All right. Basically run them off. All right. Run here, run him here. And then run this guy out here and then let him make a decision and break off and come back underneath on a little follow route and hit this guy underneath. All right. In this play, it's a 3rd down play. They're trying to get to this type of thing over and over and over again throughout the game. But what we did is simply just brought this pressure. All right. Here, 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 right there. This guy, all right, Mike has him, all right, and once he blocked here, he basically became a spy on Bryce Young, okay? But we kept great contain on the outside, and then these guys got great pushes up into Bryce Young's face, okay? Now, remember that. We push into his face, and what that does over a long, extended period of time shows up later in the game, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, so the second way that we did a great job of, in the same look, in the same blitz, we did a great job of showing the same pressure, but dropping into a zone, okay? So now, all right, we get into a look where right here, we actually take this free safety. Instead of him being over here, we show a little bit more of a too high look. So that changes our guys up a little bit. All right, so our free safety, he's going to move over here. Our corner is going to get outside leverage. All right, Sam's in here, corner's in inside leverage. Mike kind of moves there, okay? This strong safety backs up just a smudge right there. And now, okay, what we're able to do is ultimately get into a place where we back up, all right? We walk this guy down, and we bring pressure away from the back. We pressure. This guy drops, all right? And now all of a sudden we're basically in, all right? Cover two, this free safety is going to key across, because what did they do to us a couple different times last game? They sent somebody here and then up the middle of the field. We protected it with our backside safety, all right? And then we were playing the cloud over the top with these guys being able to basically cover everything here with the extra help protecting the inside. This guy's wall on this side as we're working here. So I know it's a little bit muddy as far as the drawing goes and the look, but what we were able to do is mix up man coverage in the backfield versus zone coverage and drop out. That not only brought pressure and got pressure into Bryce's face, but was allowed us to confuse him and just change up that pre-snap picture right at the last second. We did a great job of that throughout the game, throughout other looks. Let's look at one or two more of those other times that we did that, and it ultimately created pressure and created that panic in the backfield that allowed us to make him move off his spot and or go and make another play. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is something that was generated because of the pressure throughout the game. This play came up later in the game. It's when they got the ball down low into our red zone after a big, deep out corner route that they hit Bryce Young. By the way, he's an unreal player. He made a lot of really good plays. Guy is a competitor, and he showed it in a lot of different ways. But our pass rush ultimately created enough pressure, enough different things going off in his face throughout the game that allowed us to make him create an errant throw on this one. Okay, so let's look at it real quick. All right, we've already talked about how we've been getting pressure, but they get into this set. They're in a tight stack. All right, over here, they motion. All right, Bowden over here. Basically, our Sam takes off, and he comes over here, and then he points what ends up looking like a bunch, okay? So if I erase this line and kind of just put him over there on that bunch, all right? Now we're here, all right? We've got this guy here, all right? Now, what they're trying to do, okay, they're going to push up. They're going to run a corner route, all right? This guy's going to run a little sit route, and then he's going to take off here, okay? Basically, they're trying to run a little snag route. I personally think this guy should have been a little bit wider, so he would have had good leverage to come sit on our Sam's left outside shoulder, run a little pick play to see if we would twitch it. And if this guy widens, he's supposed to widen, and then that was supposed to be the ball right there, okay? But regardless of the play, we get into this situation. We go here. We bring one of our favorite blitzes, okay? It's basically a back-eating blitz. All right, we're going to bring 6 to a way that they're not able to pick up all 6, even if they use 6 in protection. So we're going to eat these 2 guys up. We're going to eat this guy up. We're going to eat that guy up. So it's really big that he eats 2. All right, we get wide. We start to create a huge gap right here, okay? What you'll see is N'Kobe D come in here. He'll see that the back's picking him up, and you'll notice every time this happens, all right, a lot of people like to be like, oh, the back keeps blocking N'Kobe. The back picks up N'Kobe. No, what he's taught to do is basically clear the path for this backer that's coming around, okay? Whether it's Tyndall or it's any of the other guys coming around, what they're trying to do is ultimately they're going to attack the inside shoulder. So just like this guy cleared a path and created basically a wide alley for us to rush in, and Kobe's not going to come here, and he's going to cross face right there. So now this back ends up going here. What that does is makes this loop, instead of being a big loop that comes around, he's able to hug it tight, come right around, and get into the face of Bryce Young, okay? So what this does, again, he doesn't actually get there. He gets close. He sees the pressure. He feels the pressure. He's not looking at it, but he understands that it's coming. He knows what the look is, all right? And what he also sees is he's got basically inside leverage right here on the corner route, okay? On one of his better receivers that's left towards the end of the game, what he does is he sees it. Normally, in a normal situation, he probably sits back there, sets his feet, rips this ball, lays it out there. This guy runs underneath it and catches it, and now they're up going into the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, we were up by 1. They would have went up by 6, and we would have had to feel a little bit more pressure, all right, up under us to be able to go out there and make a play. But what happens right here is he feels it, he backs up, he launches it out to his outside shoulder, but he throws it out a little bit too far, and it's incomplete. Okay, now, was it great coverage? Was it this? Was it that? Was it an unreal job on this play? Yes, we did some things that were really good, but it was all the plays that came before that allowed this play to be something that affected Bryce enough, all right, to where he made an errant pass, and I believe this is one of the biggest plays in the game right there. Was basically all those things coming before him or before that play allowed us to basically make a play right there and create basically a third down stop that had turned into not 7, but only 3, and kept us in the lead going into that fourth quarter with the last drive right ahead of that. All right, so the last play on defense that I want to talk about is one of the biggest plays of the game, or one of the biggest series in the game that I believe happened, and it happened a little bit earlier in the second quarter, all right? As we were getting down, again, Alabama gets into that bunch set with the tight end over here. All right, we talked about how the leverage to the tight end backside is a good matchup. We were covering that bunch set so well. Keely Ringo tries to undercut it, okay? They catch it. He starts hauling butt down the sideline, all right? What does Keely Ringo do? Does he quit? No. He turns around, goes and chases down a very, very athletic tight end, one of the new hybrid tight ends that can really run. We run, chase him down, and basically tackle him down on the 6-yard line. And then the series plays out to where we get into this situation on third down. Everybody wants to talk about Nakobe Dean and all the different things that this is the next play is, or one of the next plays is one of the ones where he gets on to Channing Tindall, and then, Channing Tindall makes a play. And we're going to talk about that play in here in a second as to why that was a great play for him and for us. But the thing that I want to say set this whole thing up, instead of allowing Bama to go up before half. Basically, at that point, it was 6-3 and became 9-3. It could have been much worse. It could have been 13-3. And now all of a sudden we're down 10 going into halftime. The reason we weren't is because of the great effort by Keely Ringo right there, but it set us up for this huge third down stop that we were able to get. Now, let's talk about it, okay? They started out in an empty set, okay? Basically, Bama's doing this so they can tell whether it's man or zone. All right, so when they bring the back into the backfield, all we do is slide in. Okay, now this still could be man or zone at this point. Okay, we've got a lot of different things going on. We're in like a nickel or dime set. All right, but we've got our 3 defensive linemen right here. What we do is actually we switch 88. All right, and then I'm sorry. All right, 44 right there. Okay, so we switch those 2 guys. Really, all we end up doing is running one of those big twists, in which 88 comes in here and tries to get as much pressure in his face as he can, okay? Now, what we did do is he does push up into Bryce's eyes, okay? That's big, and we'll talk about why that's big here in a second, all right? But what we do out here in coverage, all right, is we basically get outside leverage right here on the receiver. The free safety is inside leverage on him. So they are doubling this guy right here, okay? So he's doubled. All right, now the most interior guy right here, he's got outside leverage on him. He's got inside leverage on him. They're doubling this guy with these two. These two guys are on an island, okay? They are playing man-to-man football. They are taught basically to take away the inside and react to anything outside, all right? So what Bama does, all right, is they go and run these little whip routes down here on the boundary, all right, or into the field, and this guy basically is here and he clears out, okay? All right, backside, they're trying to do the same thing. And what Bryce Young's just looking out here and seeing is, hey, where's my best matchup? Where's my one-on-one? Where's my throw that allows me to put this ball in a safe place and keep us in a good position to score? All right. Ultimately, he's looking probably number one to number two. We tie this guy up a little bit. Okay. It's not a clean release. It's not something he just step back and throw to. Okay. He comes down to number two, and we do a great job right here of keeping that leverage inside and then reacting downhill and basically ate that up. These guys do a great job of eating that up, and then this pressure gets in his face, okay? When this back comes back here, he's got him, and as soon as he stepped up, he stays in protection, he walks up. So we got 1, 2 spies, all right? Why does this matter, okay? What happens ultimately is Bryce Young sees that he's not going to get his 1 or 2 read, and he's going to try to extend the play, all right? Why is this important? Okay, what happened in the last game? He extended plays. He got outside the pocket. He broke contain. And then he was able just to be like, hey, you run there, and I'm just going to give it to you, right? All right. It allowed him to truly extend the play. But now, all right, instead of him just extending it, all right, this guy does a great job. Channing Tindall does a great job tracking down. We've seen him do it over and over and over and over again. He's a heat-seeking missile when he really is keyed in and really does a good job getting downhill, gets into Bryce Young's face. So now as soon as he starts to separate, he also creates this lane for Channing Tindall to go downhill, makes a great stop. We actually forced them back and put them into a tougher field goal situation, which they converted. But instead of going up by 7 or by 10, all right, they go up by 6, and it's still a 1-score football game going into half. We're still in a good spot. We've actually been physically dominating the game. They've made a few more plays here and there, but we're in a good spot to where we can come out and play confident football going into the second half, which leads us to a great second half. The first half was a little bit of struggle. Let's talk about that second half for our offense and what we did well in a lot of different plays as we were going through. All right, so let's talk about the offense, what we did well, what we didn't do well, okay? One of the things I'll bring up right off the bat, too many penalties. All right, we can't do that. Normally against a team like Bama, if you create those penalties that are self-inflicted, it makes it really, really hard to win a football game. But I believe we did a great job of making enough plays to overcome some of those situations that we put ourselves in. One of those plays was the spark that got us going, and that was the big play to Pickens to start us out and get us onto the board with that first field goal. So let's talk about that. All right. Now, we've looked at this set a million different times in our offense versus our defense in a lot of different ways, all right? But what we've talked about from day one is how Monken uses the same sets, the same plays, the same looks to create new and more different plays off of it throughout the whole season. And he did it again with this one right here. Okay, so we get into this set. It's a bunch set. They're giving us a quarters look over the top. All right. Sam's got outside leverage. Your corner is locked up outside. He's got basically run responsibility right here. He's got run responsibility here. And these corners are basically going to take anything vertical. All right. So in quarters, if you just give a quick overview, all right, basically anything past 8 yards becomes man. Okay. Anything past 8 yards for this guy, all right, for number 2 vertical becomes man. All right. If we create a section to where basically there's a 4-man side, all right, or number 3 can go vertical, what he's probably going to do is leave this guy alone. All right. And he's going to start to work this way and key across the field. All right. But let's talk about how we fix that. All right. To where this guy, normally, if he does that, this guy's going to creep inside and get inside leverage right here. And he's going to take away the deep post, which we end up hitting. All right. But what we do is we stay here. All right. and we're going to send this guy right away backside. Okay. What that does, all right, is keeps this guy keyed here and this guy outside leverage. Okay. When that happens, it allows this guy to freeze for a second because he is run responsibility. So what we do is we fake the pitch. All right. We fake the end around or the reverse to Bowers. All right. And that freezes this guy for just a half second. Okay. Because if anything was a spit out into the alley, whether he's the run out or Bowers was to get the ball and take off, he's the one who's got to fill that alley. All right. But his other job, all right, is to basically pinch with this corner. He's going to play outside leverage and try to play over the top. And this guy's going to pinch if number 2 goes away, or if there's nothing basically that he's responsible here, he's supposed to end up doubling this guy. But we put him in a bind, just like you do in RPO or in zone read or in those things, you're putting a defender in a bind. This play really put this guy in a bind to where he had to react. He had to respect the different things going on in the backfield that we showed and did a great job faking. All right. To where ultimately we get a full slide here. He comes and cuts off the edge. We got Bowers coming out wide. We fake the pitch here. These guys don't get any kind of rush because they don't know where the ball's going. All right. These guys step up. We push up. We fake block. And then we run a deep over here just in case this guy does clear out. All right. We do have this outlook, but we do a great job here. Pickens running, stepping on toes. And one thing that Stetson Bennett does do well is throw a deep ball. Okay. He never overthrows a deep ball, which is one of my pet peeves personally. You've got to put the ball in play. And what he did right here was he put that ball way up in the air. He threw it up to his guy that could go get it. And as you saw, Pickens created the separation, went up down the field, caught the ball, has unreal body control, flips his body over, catches it. First down, Georgia, going into the red zone. And now all of a sudden we get a little life. And we start moving that ball closer and closer to the end zone. Did not finish with 6, got 3 out of it. But at that point in time in the game, it was a really big play that got this offense going from backwards to down the field and pushing the ball down the field. Great job of flipping the script by Coach and putting us in a situation in which we can go and attack Bama's defense. All right, the second play I want to talk about with offense was one that I saw in the second quarter. Right around the same time and same play, same situation. Everything looked the same as when Bennett actually threw a pick 6 against Bama in the first game. And he stepped up, he grew, he matured. He saw the same look, the same play was called. Everything was the same. And he hit the guy for a big 3rd down conversion, which allowed us to go downfield and end up getting a field goal out of the rest of the drive. But let's talk about that play real quick, okay? It's second quarter, like I said. 3rd and 4. All right, we need to get a first down. All right, so we set basically our formation into the boundary, all right, with our back into the boundary and 2 tight ends. All right, we've been doing here and we've been running the ball. We've been doing a lot of different things out of this set. But what we end up doing is just go into a pass game or basically a quick game work, all right, in which we ran basically a little out right here and we ran a little out right here, basically ultimately trying to control here. And if we get great leverage out of this guy, which he was outside leverage, so it wasn't great. If we got good inside leverage, we can just take this and live with it 3rd and 4. Great, awesome, hallelujah. All right. One of the things I'm sure Stetson was looking at is because we put this back into the backfield, all right, he was keying this guy, okay? When this guy moved, if I had a dotted line right there, when this guy moved to that side of the center, all right, what he understood is he probably had a lot of room right here for this route right here. Okay, now it's the same exact look that they gave us the game before, all right, in the SEC championship. He takes the bait in which these guys know this guy is here, all right, there's nobody here who's responsible for that space. It's this safety driving down right here, okay? So what he does this time is he basically steps back, lets these guys clear out of it. He knows this guy's getting driven on. So instead of forcing the ball in there, trying to put it to where it looks too good to be true, he takes his time. We run a great route, all right, by by our freshman that had an unreal game throughout the whole thing. All right, does a great job creating separation. He steps back, holds it for a half second, and rips this ball on target and puts it on Mitchell in a place to where we're able to catch it, get the first down, and continue to move the drive. Okay. One thing I also want to talk about is ultimately when we came down to it and we put that ball up into the air on that last touchdown to Mitchell, or the second to last touchdown to Mitchell, that was a, hey, it's a free play. They jump off sides, we pick up whatever they were bringing, and he's able to get that ball out. It wasn't a perfect ball, but what it did is it gave Mitchell a chance, and then we got to see a young guy grow up, go up, and make a play. That was really fun to see as well. I got one more play that I want us to look at right at the end of the game that I thought we did a great job, really not even so much of a just tricky play scheme, but basically giving us a chance in a situation that most people kind of would have backed up and played it safe. I feel like Monken still attacked and went after him and did a great job with it. So let's talk about that last play here in a second. All right. So this last play, not only was it a great play and great play call by our guys, it also came in a very interesting strategic part of the game. Okay, so the score at that point, Georgia 19, Bama 18. We're up by 1. Okay, we've been running the ball and draining the clock and doing an unreal job of pushing this ball down the field, scraping. We get to just inside the red zone, and we get to where it's a 3rd and 1 situation. Okay, at this point in time in the game, all right, Bama is down 1. All right, as most of y'all know, me, my father, and my little brother, we got to go to the game. And this is what's happening in our brain. And me and Dad are having a conversation as 2 coaches up in the box, just sitting back there hanging out, enjoying the game. At this point in time, our brains start ticking, and this becomes a fun, really cool exercise for us too. Okay, so 4th quarter, 3 minutes, 33 seconds left. All right, it's 3rd and 1, and we've got the ball around the 20-yard line. Okay, all right, what's the play? What happens? What do we do? How do we attack it? What does the defense do? What does Bama try to decide to do? Okay. One of the things my dad said is, I don't know if y'all remember the Gator Flop. All right. This was one of those times that he was like, hey, I don't know. Maybe you just let them score. If they get down into the red zone, there's 3 minutes, 33 seconds left. If we get into a position where Bama, they like their quarterback, they trust him. All right. What's wrong with flopping, allowing that guy to basically get into the end zone? So now all of a sudden they're only up 1 score if they kick a field goal, and they get into a position where all of a sudden we're able to drive down the field and score and put pressure on them. We go for 2, we get it, right? So now all of a sudden we get into all these different scenarios going through our head, okay? One of the things that we loved that Monken did is when we got into this situation, all right, we could have taken time and allowed, if you remember, we pitched the ball at the Cook on 2nd down, and he got to basically 1 yard. It could have been reviewed as far as the spot goes. All right. But what Monken does is he gets us back up to the line in a very, very tough run set. So we're in tight, condensed splits with our 2 tight ends right here on their hip. All right. We bring everybody in. Okay. Now, there's 2 things. When you go into a tight set where it's basically what we would consider a 2-back set or 2 tight end, basically having 3 of these guys in the backfield, Bama either goes 1 high man, or they'll go all out just like they did here and basically put pressure on the run game and try to get a stop in the backfield for a negative play. So right here, Bama actually brings a pressure, all right, and this guy comes off the edge right here, all right. What that does is leaves this guy matched up, all right. This guy's matched up here, and the Mike has Bowers here, here, here. Okay, so they're in 0. Okay, all right. We go run action across here. Basically, what Stetson sees, we catch and watch this guy. All right, or we push down this guy right here, and the Sam's coming off his edge. This is a pull read, right? Well, they've got 2 guys outside. So instead of us trying to block and cut off somebody who's got a great angle, what we do is we lead Bowers out into the flat. We do a great job of faking it, dropping back, and putting it on him. We seal it up with a great block on the corner. Of course, the Mike bites the guy that's responsible for him, and we were able to put that on Bowers and get it into the end zone and score. Now, all of a sudden, we go up by 8. We kick a field goal. All right, we're up by 8. We're in a great position going into the later in the game, in which ultimately we're able to close it out with an unreal pick by Keely Ringo. Everybody was yelling, "Get down, get down, get down. No, 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 run, run, run." We end up getting into the end zone, score, and the place goes absolutely berserk. Georgia fans, you are champs. We're proud of it. Be proud of it. Let's enjoy the moment. All right. But then let's get excited for next year, because Coach Kirby and the staff has done a great job of reloading and recruiting. I think we're going to be in a great spot to go right back at it, go attack, go compete, and get back into a position where we could possibly go for a back-to-back repeat and get after it for one more time and get another championship brought back to the University of Georgia. It's been a pleasure working with everybody this year. Look forward to seeing you guys next year.